What is it to live in such a way that you can leave no regrets? We are all, I think, to some degree, a little nervous about death. It's something that, depending on what your belief systems, you may believe that's the final stop, or you may believe it's just a crossing over and a bridge to something else. But when we think about death, it definitely is the finish line in the life that we are living right now. Now, it's interesting to think about regrets, because most of us would think about the regrets that you did that you wish you had not done. And those are very important, and I hope you will take time to think about that today. But there is also the regrets of what you didn't do that you should have done. I've heard it once said that there's the sins of commission, what you committed, and what you did do, which are ones we often think of when you think of the Ten Commandments, or most religions. It's thou shalt not do these things. But there are also the sins of omission, what you didn't do. You'll find they are just as important, or maybe even more so, than those sins of commission of what you did. And so we don't want to err in what we do, and we don't want to err in what we don't do. Finding a way to navigate life so that you don't live with regret. Most of us, if you take any measure of risk, we're going to have some regrets. I think that's part of living and beginning to live life fully. If you live in such fear that you're not going to do anything bad or good, you're not going to err, you pretty well are frozen in time and you don't make any decisions. That in itself is a huge regret too. So how do you live with no regrets? You have to live with courage, take risks, and be willing to be vulnerable, to face your fears, fear of public humiliation, fear of failure. Those are probably the big ones. And hey, stepping out in this arena for me was a big part of facing some of those fears. This is something I've talked about for a long time, but it didn't fit what had worked for me up to this point. Jumping into this arena was a lot of new learning. It was intimidating. It was easy to think I should have started, if I was going to do this, I should have started it a year ago, or 2 or 5 years ago, or 10 years ago. It's easy to second guess yourself in every way. It's hard to jump in, commit, and stay with it, even when that change is hard, when growth might seem slow or almost imperceptible. But if we are honest with ourselves, growth usually takes place over time. And most of the time you can't see the growth day to day. You can only see it when you step back and you begin to get a bigger picture of the whole. So I've taken stock. I've had to look in the mirror and ask myself this question many times. And I'll be honest, I know clearly that if I were to die tomorrow and stand before God in heaven, I would know that I have not even begun to expend the gifts and talents within me, because I have not yet written a book. Now, I've started and stopped a number of times. I've got a handful of different books even started. And for whatever reason, I have not yet pressed through that. But I'm pretty clear that if I die, that's going to be a big regret. Jumping into this arena is one of those ways that I am choosing to live with no regrets. And the other is doubling down on writing and living with no regret. My challenge to you today is to imagine, push pause, or when this video ends, give yourself breathing room for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and jot a couple notes to yourself. Share them in the comments if you're bold enough. If you were to die 6 months from now, what would you do that you haven't done? Where would you ask forgiveness? Who would you ask forgiveness for? Perhaps something that you did that you should never have done. If you can identify one or two of those things that if you knew you were going to die, you would do different, then why wait another day? You can change it today. You can change it right now, and you can live from that place now. A life of no regrets comes down to risking more, being willing to face our fears, fears of failure, fears of public humiliation, fear of the unknown, and being as courageous as we can be so that we have no regrets. If you found one nugget of wisdom in this video today, please share it in the comments and share this video with a friend. I appreciate your support. Thank you so much.